Hello everyone, I'm Frank, and welcome to Frank Puzzles, and this is today's hard level difficulty puzzle, and it's called Basket by Jay Dyer. And here are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply, and digits may not repeat on either marked diagonal. So that means you have the digits 1 through 9 must appear in every row, column, box, and marked diagonals, which is the positive diagonal here, because if you think of it as a graph, it's a positive diagonal, and the negative diagonal here. And they have to appear once without repeats. So 1 through 9 must appear in every row, column, box, and main diagonal without repeats. And digits on a line, so this is red band lines, form a set of non-repeating consecutive digits which may be in any order. So for example, if this were a 1, this would have to be, or actually let's use this one here. If this were a 1, this would have to be 2, 3, and 4 along the line somewhere. Because to form a set of 4 digits, unique digits, again, they have to be non-repeating, of consecutive digits, one can only be with 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? If you try to add another digit, like a 5 or whatever, you can't be consecutive from 1 through 5 with 4 digits. So that's how Renban lines work, and that every pink line on this grid is a Renban line. Remember, they can't have repeats. Digits connected by an X sum to 10, and digits connected by a V sum to 5. So as an example of this, if this were a 3, this would have to be a 7 because there's an X connecting them, so they must add up to 10. If there were a 2 here, this would have to be a 3 because we know that there is a V connecting in between them, so they must add up to 5. And those are all the rules. If you like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now, I'm going to get started. Let's go. Okay. Let's count out how many each rim band is. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is a 7th length rim band. This is obviously 4. This is 4. This is 3. 1, 2, I think these are all the same, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, those are all the same. So all the corner ones are 7. This is a 4, and this is a 4. We know these two are low digits because they must add up to 5. Since this is a 7th length renban, that means it must be 1 through 7, 2 through 8, or 3 through 9. So 3 through 7 will always be on this renban. And this cell sees all 7 of the renban. So this cannot be 3, 7. This cannot have 3 through 7 because we know there's a guaranteed 3 through 7 on this renban, on the 7 length renbans. So this has to be 1, 2, 8, or 9. This also has to be 1, 2, 8, or 9. And so with every single corner cell, right? Um. Hmm. And each of these digits sees the other digit, right? This sees this digit from normal Sudoku, and this from the diagonal rule. This sees this from normal Sudoku, and diagonal rule. So they all have to be unique from each other, and they all have to be 1, 2, 8, and 9. So these are all unique digits. So this has to be green. We're just going to mark them as colors. Green, red, blue, and orange. These are 1 through 4. And these are 1 through 4. So what you cannot have then is you cannot have 8 and 9 on one side, one column, and then 1 and 2 on the other column, because that would eliminate all possibilities here. So this cannot be 8 and 9, 8 and 9. And this can't be 8 and 9, 8 and 9. So one of these is a low, and one of these is a high. Right? Which means blue or orange has to be one of these two cells. We're not sure which. Similarly, red or green has to be one of those two cells, right? But both columns could actually, or both rows could, this could be like 1, 2, and 1, 2 here. And then this would be 8, 9, 8, 9. That does seem possible. We just don't, we're not sure. Okay, anyways. What does that mean, though? Orange cannot be any of these cells. So orange does have to be in one of these Ren bands. That's interesting, actually. So orange is in one of these Ren bands here. Green similarly has to be on this Ren band because it cannot be either of these cells. So one of these cells is a green cell. Similarly, this blue has to be on one of these Ren bands. And red has to be on one of these Ren bands. What does that mean? So that means you do have a 1 or a 9 in one of the Ren bands, right? Because of that, say the red was a 1 or 9. If the red is a 1 or 9, this cannot be the corresponding 2 or 8. Right? So if this is 1, say this was a 1. Say the red was a 1. That means this Ren band would have to contain a 1, which means it would also have to contain a 2. So then this would have to be 8 or 9, right? Well, this can't be 1 or 4 then, in that case, so this would be 2 or 3. So this could not be 2 either. Well, where's the 2? Then the 2 would have to be there, right? So in this specific, and actually in every case then, because of how we just showed it, since this is 2, this can never contain a 2, so this would be 3 through 9 here. This would be 1 through 7. So this would have to be red, which means this could not be red. So the red would be one of these. Interesting. Okay. That's very interesting. Because of how that functions then, every low number is in the same row as the low number. So if this were 1, this would have to be 2. If this were 9, this would have to be 8. If this were 8, this would have to be 9, etc., etc., because of just how that interaction works. Therefore, this can never be 1 or 2 or 8 or 9 in the same in basically it has to be a combination of 1 and 2 or it's 8 and 9 in the row 1 and row 9, which means you can never have 1 9 or 2 8 in this the two cells that are separated by an X. So it has to be 3, 7, or 4, 6 in that case. Well, that's interesting. Hmm. Also, in addition, there has to be a 5 in each row and column in row 1, row 9, column 1, column 9, right? And there's 4 renbands which the 5 has to occupy. So that means the 5s then have to be on the outside of these renbands, which means 5 cannot be in the inside part of those renbands. Well, that's only 2 digits, so that doesn't really help us much. Hmm. So, okay, let's take a look at this again. Say this was a 2 then. If this is 2, this would have to be 3 through 9. Obviously, this digit would have to be one of those digits. But 2... So this would have to be 1 and 4. This would have to be a 1. Which would make this 2 and 3. So this could be what, 8 or 9. This would be 8 or 9. So if the 1's here, that means 1 has to be along this. So this is 1 through 7. That's interesting. Okay. So for this one, that means 1 has to be somewhere on this Renban, which means this is 1 through 7, which means 8 and 9 would have to be, one of them would have to be here. So the orange would be here then in that case, right? Which means none of these could be 8 or 9. So then this would have to be 8 and 9. Guaranteed. So this would be 3 through 9 then. So therefore, this could not contain a... One of these would have to be 2. Similarly, this can't have a 2, so this must be 3 through 9, which means none of them can have a 1. So 1 would have to be along here, which would mean 1 has to be on this Renban also. So the Renbans are 1 through 7 or 3 through 9. It can never be 2 through 8. Because one of them has to be 1, one of them has to be 2, but the other one... So this, again, this is 1. That forces 1 to be somewhere along this Renban, which makes that 1 through 7. Since this is 1 through 7, you have to have both 8 and 9s along this diagonal, which means this cannot have 8 or 9, and both 8 and 9s have to be along this diagonal, which makes that 3 through 9, right? And then similarly, this 2 means that you cannot have a 1 through 7 or 2 through 8 along this Renban. So it must be 3 through 9, which means 1 must be on this diagonal. Therefore, you can't have 1 or 2 here, which means 1 and 2 have to be on this Renban. So I think you'll always have 1 through 7 on the Renban and 3 through 9 on the Renban, right? And the interesting thing, though, is I don't think you can have in the extra part of the Renban, which has to be essentially one of these two cells, it cannot obviously be 1, 2, 8, or 9, right? Because you have 1 through 7, and on the one you have, if you have 1 through 7, that means the rest of them are 8 and 9, and you have to have one from 1 through 7 on this Renban, right? But if this, that's specifically because we know there has to be, either, if this is 1 through 7, there has to be an 8 and 9 along this diagonal, which means 8 and 9 has to be along this Renban, which means this is 3 through 7, which means a 1 and 2 have to be along this diagonal. So along this diagonal and this diagonal, you can never have 1, 2, you always have, sorry, a 1, 2, 8, 9 on the diagonals, because the Renbans have to be 1 through 7 or 3 through 9. Therefore, this can only be 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. Similarly, actually, all of these have to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ah, that's interesting. Right? Because you always have 8 and 9 on one side and a 1 and 2 on the other side for both diagonals. You'll always have that interaction. Therefore, we have a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quintuplet in box 5, which means the rest of the cells cannot contain 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It has to be 1, 2, 8, and 9. Therefore, the rest of these cells, these have to be in the same set. So it's either 1, 2, or it's 8, 9. We're not sure which. So we're going to make that, I don't know, pink, I guess. That means these are both the same. So these have to be yellow. And this is the same polarity. So this is pink. This has to be a 3, 4, or 6, 7. So it's 3, 4, 6, 7 together. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. For this, well, what can it not be? This cannot be, obviously, 1 through 4. It can't be 2 through 5. Can't be 3 through 6. It could be 4 through 7. So this is 4, 5, 6, 7. 5, 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8, and 9. So 6 and 7 both have to be here. So this is 6 and 7. Again, the edges cannot contain 1, 2, 8, or 9, right? Because if it did, how would that work, right? If this is 1 or 2, that means this is 3, 4, 5, 6, but then this would have to be 8 and 9, and you'd have an 8 and 9 here, but then you'd have a 1 or 2 here. Well, the problem is 1, 2, and 8 and 9 could not be here, and they would have to be all on this Renban, but that's impossible, right? Because you can't have 8 and 9 with 1 or 2 as long as you have both 8 and 9 there. So this has to be specifically, this one has to be 3, 4, 5. Because it cannot be 1, 2, 8, or 9, and it can't be 6 or 7, so it's 3, 4, 5. Well, can this ever be 4 then? If this is 4, 5, 6, 7, this would have to be 2 and 3, and this would have to be 2 and 3. And that doesn't work. Therefore, this cannot be 4. It has to contain an 8 also. So the rest of the cell must be 1, 2... Sorry, the rest of the box has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 9. Okay. So this is 3, 4, 5. This is 3 through 7. This is 3 through 7. This then also has to be 3 through 7. Okay. Again, in the columns, we know that the columns cannot contain, cannot contain 1 and 2, right? Because if they did contain 1 and 2, the problem is that would break, one of these has to be a 1 or 2. They both cannot be 8 and 9, because then the other side would be 1 or 2, right? And that would break the possibilities for this pair. So therefore, the rest of column 1 has to be 3 through 9. This has to be the rest of 3 through 9. And column 9 also has to be 3 through 9. So this 3, 4, 5, whatever this is, let's label it A. A has to be one of these two cells. This B has to be one of these two cells. This C has to be one of these two cells. And this D has to be one of these two cells. Well, but these could be the same digit. We don't actually know. Well, A and C cannot be the same. Oh, that's interesting. Hmm. D and B can't be the same. But A could be the same as D or B. And C could be the same as B or D. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, that's interesting. Hmm. Okay, let's remove the colorings here. Colorings, not the digits. Oh, no. Hmm. Again, the digits on these 7 Ren bands have to be 1 through 7 or 3 through 9, right? So green can never be on this Ren band. Green has to be one of these two cells. Therefore, green in column 9, where can it be? It has to be on one of these two cells. Or it could be here, right? If this is 1 and 2. So green has to be one of those 4 cells. Red similarly can't be anywhere on this Ren band because this would have to be 1. If this is 1 or 2, this would have to be 3 through 9. So red has to be one of those two cells. Blue has to be one of those two cells. Orange has to be one of these two cells. Um, uh, where is red then? Red can be, it cannot be here. So red has to be one of these two or one of these two cells, right? If it's the 1 or 2, it has to be with that one. If it's 8 or 9, it has to be that one. Again, because both of these are 1 through 7, or they're both 3 through 9. Hmm. Similarly, blue has to be one of these 4. And green has to be either one of these 2. Not green. Orange has to be one of these 2 or these 2. What does that mean? I'm not really sure. Oh, that's actually one question. Hmm. Ah, okay. Hmm. Where does this digit on this diagonal. It obviously can't be the corners. It can't be any of the same ones in the box. It has to be either here or here. Similarly, this also has to be here or here. So therefore, it corresponds to that cell, right? So, okay. Right. Okay. Let's label these again. A, B, C, and D. C has to be one of these two cells. C then cannot be any of these cells, and it can't be this one. Where can it be in box 5? It has to be here. B has to be one of these two cells. It sees all of these cells, and it sees those cells. Where can B be in box 5? It has to be here. A has to be one of these two cells. Where is A? Where is A in box 5? It can't be any of these cells or this cell. It must be this cell. So this is an A. And D is in one of these two cells. So it sees all three of these cells, and it sees that cells. Where is the D in box 5? It has to be here. That's very interesting, actually. So then A has to be one of these three cells, C has to be one of these three cells, D has to be one of these three cells, and B has to be one of those three cells. Okay. We know C cannot be on this diagonal. C has to be one of these four. So then where is this, is the question, right? It has to be in... So D can't be here. It's not here. D cannot be this one, so D has to be one of these three cells. We're not sure which. This can't be A, B, or D. Sorry, A, C, or D. So this is either C or this one, right? Oh, right. In this column, we have 5 digits that are from 3 through 7. The remaining digits must be 1, 2, 8, and 9, right? Because you cannot have... Right, you have 5 digits. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 3, 4, 6, 7. This could be 3 through 7, or include this is 3 through 7, and this is 3 through 7. Do we have the same here? No, because it's specifically interaction with this, right? This has to be 3, 4, 6, or 7. What about this way? We do... This could be 8, 9, 8, and 9, and this could be 1, 2, 1, 2. So this does not have to be. So we know these are each a certain color. These have to be these 3, essentially. We don't know which ones they are, though. Interestingly enough, though, 5 can never be on this Ren band, right? It's either 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, or 7, 8, and 9. It can't be 2, 3, 4, though. Ah, because this is... Okay. If it were 2, 3, 4, it can't be 6, 7, 8. So this has to be on this Ren band. Okay. Right. On this Ren band, 2, 3, 4 is not possible because that eliminates all possibilities for this X domino, right? Because you have to have a 3 or 4 here. So it cannot be 2, 3, 4. It has to specifically be 1, 2, 3, or it's 7, 8, 9 here. Because this has to be a 1, 2, 8, or 9. Therefore, these are of opposite colors here. Opposite sets. So one of these is a yellow set, one of these is the pink set, right? Therefore, this has to be the pink set also, because we have a yellow set here. So this must be 1, 2, 3, or 7, 8, 9. Either way, there cannot be a 3, 7 pair here. So this has to specifically be 4 or 6. This then, D, has to be so whatever this color is, we're not sure. This is the opposite color. These have to be the same color. This is 3, 5, or 7, right? So this is not 4, 6. This is 3, 5, or 7. So this is 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, and 9, right? Hmm. Interesting. Ah, what are these digits? Okay, that's another thing. This digit is 3, 4, 6, or 7. It sees these two digits. And it cannot be C, so it's either one of these two, right? So it's either B or it's this one. What is this digit? This digit sees B and A, and it sees... Wait. Huh. That is not as helpful as I thought. Right. Okay. This has to be... Okay, so this is A, B, C. We're going to label this E, right? Where is A, B, and E in column 6? Sorry, where's C and E in column 6? It has to, this one has to be C or E, and this one has to be C or E, right? This can't be B, so therefore this is A or D. We're not sure which one. Um, oh, so this can never be 5. Interesting. Okay, that actually is pretty helpful. This can never be 5. Because it has to be one of these two cells, and neither of those are 5. C can never be 5. Because it has to be one of those two cells. This is A or D. This can't be E or D. It's A, B, or C. And this can't be C or D. It's A, B, or E. What is this cell? It cannot be A, D, or C, so this is B or E, right? So B or C have to be in the same set. Start with E. Actually, I guess it could be B and C are in the same set. Or it's BE or it's CE, right? It has to be the same high or low. Hmm. So if this is D, then this has to be 3, 7, which would force this to be 4. So if this is D, the D is 3, 7, it would be with 4, 6. So then you would know both of these are 4 and 6. No, one of them would be 3 or 7. And one of them would be 4 or 6. We're not sure which. Hmm. What does that mean, though? I'm not really sure. Hmm. Oh, this can't be B. Hmm. I feel like I'm so close to actually cracking this. I just don't know how to attack it though. Oh, interesting. If this is so, this cannot be C, D, or B. So this is A or E. If this is A, obviously A has to be a 4-6 then. If this is E, the thing is this cannot be, this is either B or E, or this is C or E. So if this were E, it cannot be with B or C because they would both, oh, actually it would have to be with B or C. Never mind. Hmm. That doesn't help. Okay. Hmm. So obviously one of these two digits would have to be the same as one of these two digits. Right, it actually, if this is E, it would have to be with B or C, if that's the case. That's interesting. Oh, this has to be a yellow then, right? Because if this is not yellow, both the pinks see it, right? This D then is either 5 or it's the yellow 3 or 7. We're not sure which though. Hmm. Hmm. The pink 3, 4, 6, or the other pink 3, 4, 6, or 7 in box 2 has to be one of these two cells. Therefore, B has to either be 5 or the yellow 3, 4, 6, 7. Right? We have this is a red, pink, yellow pair. So therefore, one of these is a low or a high. So if this is high, one of these obviously has to be high with it. If this is a low, one of these has to be low with it. So this can never be the pink version. It has to be the yellow, or it's a 5. This also has to be yellow or the 5 because it sees both of the pink cells, right? So this has to be a yellow or 5. This is a yellow or 5. Therefore, we know these two are both the pinks. Aha. And this is C, this is E. This can't be E. This can't be B anymore, so this must be an E, which makes this a C, which makes this an E. So this has to be the other pink. So this is not yellow, this is pink, which makes this the yellow version of it. So either this is E and this is B or A, or this is C, right? So this is sort of in between. We're gonna make this not yellow, but grayish. Because we know A specifically has to be a yellow. So this is a yellow. Ah! Wait, do we know A has to be... How do we know A is yellow? That's the question. We don't know. Do we know? Yes. Okay, so they're all questionable, right? They're all questionable, which means they are they have to be. Yeah, they're all questionable. We don't know them. Ah, that sucks. But these two do have to be essentially both pink because they're all. This cannot. This sees both pinks. This D sees both pinks, and um, B can sees both pinks also. So therefore, yeah. So therefore, these have to be pink. Therefore, this cannot be C. It has to be E, which makes that C, which makes that E. So this is the pink version, which means this is the yellow version, and we know it's either A or D, but we don't know which one. B is again a 5, or it's a yeah, or it's the yellow version. We don't know which. So therefore, we have one pink and one yellow here. So if A is not the 5, we know then all the yellows are 5 through 1. Oh, that's interesting. So again, this is either E or this is C. For the low. And it could be A or B for the high. So E has to be one of these two cells here. C has to be one of these three. Well, this is probably easier. E, we know that's D. So A is either 3, 4, or 5. If it's 5, then it could be either 3 or 7 here. Well, if it's 5, A cannot be here. So then this would be E. And this would then have to be B. It cannot be C. So if this is 5, right, D can't be 4 or 6. So B would have to be 4 or 6 specifically. Right? So if A is 5, B would be 4 or 6 because D can't be. And then D would be 3 or 7. So therefore this would be D. No. Does that work? Hold up. So, yeah, if this is 5, okay, that's interesting. So if A is a 5, that means A cannot be either of these. Therefore, E would have to be the 4 or 6, which would correspond with B. So then B would be 4 or 6. But this has to be E. So E would be 4, 6, and this would be 4, 6. So this would have to technically be B, but that wouldn't work. So A can never be 5. Therefore, A has to be a 3 or 4. Right? Okay, so let's try to figure the logic. If A is a 5, it can never be any of these. So therefore, this has to be an E because it sees B, C, and D, and it can't be a 5. So then this would have to be E. E would be next to a digit that has to add up to 10, but then it has to be add up to 10 with this digit too, which is impossible. So therefore, this can never be 5. So therefore, A has to be a 3 or 4, so the yellows are all lows. So this then has to be 1 and 2. These have to be 6 and 7. And this is 3 or 5. This is 3, 4, 5. So this has to be 8 and 9. So the E has to be a 6 or 7. We can delete the outsides. This has to be a 6 or 7. So therefore, B is a 3, 4, 5. D is specifically a 3 or 5. And C has to be a 6 or 7. Well, we have a 6, 7, 6, 7 pair now in row 6, which eliminates 6 and 7 from the rest of the row. And we know 6 and 7 have to be on this red band, period. Where's the only places it can be? It has to be here. So this is 6 and 7 also. And this has to be 8. And it has to be with 5 or 9. We're not sure which. This is 8 and 9. This has to be 6, 7, 6, 7. This can't be 6 or 7. It's 3 or 4. And it could be A or D. We're not sure which. We're still not sure about this. We do know 4 has to be one of these two, but that's not helpful. This can't be... Six, 7, or 8. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. A is a 3 or 4. So in box 6... Okay, A is the other 3 or 4 that doesn't add up with this digit to add up to 5. We know these digits, the 1, 4, and 2, 3, are different specifically because one of them contains a blue or orange and the other one contains a green or a red as a 1 or 2. So therefore, this A must match with this 3 or 4, but it can't be that one specifically. So this one has to be an A. So this is specifically A, which means it cannot be the green or blue or orange. So this is specifically A. A is also over here, we know. This 3 or 4 has to either be B or D, and we're not sure which. But we do have a 1, 2, 3, 4 triplet here, right? We do have a 1, 2, 3, 4 triplet. But it could be 5. Well, sorry. We have a 3, 4. One of these is 3 or 4. This has to be 3 or 4. So therefore, we have a 3, 4 double pair in column 9, which eliminates 3 and 4 from the rest of the column. So this can't be 3 or 4. And it eliminates 3 and 4 from the rest of the box. This cannot be the 1 or 2 because it sees both 1 or 2s. Therefore, this has to be 5 or 9. E cannot be here. E cannot be here. Oh, E has to be here. My apologies. So this can't be E. This has to be E. Well, we already knew that. Okay. Instead of pinks and oranges now, oops. We don't need that coloring. So we're going to label these pink and orange. So this pink, this is E, so that has to match with that. We don't need yellow, sorry. Yellow has to match with this. Therefore, this is yellow, and this is pink, which makes this pink and this the yellow. Interesting. Which means pink can be one of these 3. Yellow can be one of these 3. Also, yellow has to be one of these 2, right? Because it is that one. Huh. This cannot be E. Because we know E is here, right? And it's with the sum digit. But if this is E, that would also have to be the same digit with it. So this can never be E. This has to be A, which means A is a 4. So we know A is a 4. Therefore, this is a 4. Therefore, this has to be A, and it's a 4. This has to be 6. So therefore, all the yellows are 6s, so this can't be the yellow. This is E. It has to be with D then. So we don't know which of these is the 6, but we know this is 6. This then has to be 7, so this can't be pink. And we don't know which one of these... Oh, wait. This can't be pink. We don't know which one of these is pink. So this has to be 7, which makes this a 3. So therefore, this can't be 3 or 4, so B has to be 5. Therefore, this is 3, this is 3. This can no longer be 1, 2, 3, so it has to be 7, 8, 9. So this is specifically 7, 8, 9, which means this is... We already knew that was 8, 9. This has to be 1, 2 then. And we have 1, 2, and 5 then here, right? This can't be 7 though. This can't be 7, whereas a 7 in box 8, it has to be here. So this is a 7. This is a 3, so one of these is a 3. This can't be 1 or 4, so this is 2 and 3. Since this is 2 and 3, this can't be 2, and this can't be 2. So 2 has to be one of these. This has to be a 1, which means this can't be 1, and this can't be 1. right? So 6 is no longer here. 4 can't be here. This can't be 4, 6 either. This can't be 3. Therefore, this is a 2, which makes that a 3. This can't be 2, so this is 1, which makes that a 2, which makes that a 1. So neither of these could be 1 anymore. This cannot be... We have a 5, 8, 9 triplet in box 6, which eliminates 5, 8, 9 from the rest of the box. Therefore, this must be a 1. This can't be 5, therefore this is 9. So therefore, this becomes a 5, 8 pair, which eliminates 5 and 8 from the rest of the row. Therefore, this must be a 9. Okay, what do we have remaining here? Remaining cells here. This cannot be 5. Where is the 5 in column 5? It has to be here. So this is a 5, this is a 2. What are the remaining cells here? It has to be 5 with 8 or 9, but it can't be 9. So it's 5 and 8. This can't be 9. So this is an 8, which makes this a 9. This 8 makes this a 9, which makes that 8, which makes this a 9. So 9 can no longer be here. This has to be specifically 2 and 3. This has to be 2 and 4. And this has to be 1 and 8. Okay. One of these is a 6, and we have a 1, 8, 9 with it. One of these is 2, this is 2, 8, 9, and we need a 3 with it. So we can remove the C and D in the coloring. Well, let's keep that for now. We don't need to delete it. This has to have a 5. And it has an orange with it, so it's 1, 8, 9. This has to have a 4. And it has to have a green with it, 2, 8, and 9. Well, this can't be 9, and this can't be 9 because of this 9. This can't be 9, and this can't be 9 because of this 9. Interesting. This can't be 9, and this can't be 9 because of this 9. This can no longer be 5 because it can't have a 5 along this Ren band. So the 5 has to be here. This can't be 5. Where is the 5 in column 1? It has to be here. So this is a 5. These can't be 8s because of this 8. This can't be 1 because of this 1. Again, this can't be 8 because of that 8. This can't be 2 because of that 2. This can't be 9. This can't be 5. This can't be 5. This can't be 8. We're just doing Sudoku here. Therefore, where is the 5 in column 9? It has to be one of these two cells, but we already knew that. Maybe we didn't know completely, so let's just make that 5. What are the remaining digits we have? This can't be 7, so this is 3 or 9. This can't be 7. Do we have anything else? I'm not sure. Um, what are the remaining digits here? It's 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. And this is 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. This can't be 6. Now this can't be 6 because one of these two is a 6. That's not too helpful. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 9. There's no 5, 6 here. We don't know. This can't be green anymore, or red. So this is green or red. That. Three has to be one of these two cells. We're not sure which. Three has to be one of these. Oh, this can't be 3 because of this 3. Not too helpful. Um, hmm. Um, what about the rest of this? 1, 2, 5. So 5 has to be one of these two cells. And then we have 7, which could be either of these. And then it could be 1, 2, or 8, 9. So this is 1, 2, or it's 8, 9. This can't be 1. This can't be 9. But this still could be anything here. Uh, hmm. We do know one of these is a 7. And one of these two has to be a 7. That's not that helpful, though. One of these 3 is a 7, and one of these 4, 3, I guess, can be a 7. Okay, this can't be 4 here. So one of these two is a 4, right? What about 6s? We don't know about 6s here. This can't be 6, this can't be 6, but one of these 3 could be a 6. This can't be 6, one of these 3 could be 6. Hmm. One of these is 4, so we're left with what? 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Just still too many things. Ah, if this is 8, this has to be 3. If this is 8 and 3, so make this 8. If we make this 8 and this is 3, this then has to be a 1 because this cannot be, sorry, this has to be 9. Oh, that actually works. Oh, but either way, okay, so if this is 8, that means this cannot be 3 through 9 anymore because it can't contain 8. So it must be 1 through 7, which means this is 9, which means that's 8, right? And this is 6 and 1, and that works. If this is 3, this has to be a 2, which again means this can't be 1 through 7. So this, oh wait, no, if this is 3 and 2, oh, that's interesting. Okay, so if this is 8, obviously this has to be 1 through 7, so this is 9. If this is 3 and 2, this has to be 3 through 9, so this is a 1, right? So if this is a high, it has to be 8 here, and this is 9, because otherwise that would be low. Right. So this can never be 9 then, right? If this is 8, this has to be a 6. And this has to be... Oh, that doesn't work. Okay. Let's try to make this an 8. If this is 8, this has to be 6. This then becomes 1 through 7, so this has to be 9, which makes this a 1. This is 3, but this is 2. Wait, does that work? Okay, hold up. If this is 8, this has to be a 3. This can no longer, this has to be 1 through 7. So this becomes 9, and this becomes 1, and this becomes 6, and that becomes 8. So that does not work. Okay, so there we go. That's what we were trying to prove. So this can't be 8. This has to be a 3, which makes this a 2. So this cannot be 1 through 7. It has to be 3 through 9. So therefore, this must be a 1. Since this is a 1, this then has to be a 1 here. Because this can't be 1. This is 8 or 9. This can no longer be 3 through 9. So this can't be 1 or 2. This can't be 1 or 2. This must contain a 2 somewhere here. But again, the 1 can't be here. The 2 can't be here, so therefore this must be a 2 again. So this is a 2. This cannot be the orange, or sorry, the red. So therefore, this is the red here, which means this can't be red. So this has to be green here. This is 2. This is 1 and 2, so this must be 3 through 9, so this can't be 9. This has to be a 6. It's not the blue. So the blue has to be here, which means this can't be blue. And orange has to be one of these two cells. Well, it can't be the 5, so it has to be the 3 or 9, and it has to be specifically be 9. So this is 9, this is 9. This has to be 8. This can't be 2, period. So it's a 4-8 pair. This can't be 2. This can't be 2. So again, this has to be 4 through 9. And it can't be 7, 8, and 9 here. So this is 4, 5, or 6. But it can't be 5. This can't be 9. This has to be a 6. So this is not the green, which means this has to be green, and it has to be the 8. Because this can't be 8 here. This can no longer be 8. One of these has to be a 9. It has to be that one. So that's the orange. This cannot be orange. This has to be a 5 because of what's missing in this Renban is here. This can't be 8 or 9, so this has to be 3 and 7 specifically. This can't be 9, so therefore it's 8. This can't be 8 or 9, so it's 7. Therefore, this cannot be 7 or 8. This has to be 5, and this has to be 9. This can't be 7 or 8, so it's 3 or 4, but it can't be 3, so it must be 4. This can't be 4 or 8, so this must be 7. This can't be 6, so this must be 4. And this has to be 3 remaining here, which means this can't be 3, so this is a 2, this is a 3. This can't be 4, so this must be 8, which makes that a 4. This can't be 4, so this is 2, which makes that a 4. We know the remaining cells here are 1 and 2. Well, And the remaining cells here are 1, 2, 4, and 6. Right? This can't be 2, this can't be 1, and these can't be 4. This can't be 6, so this must be 2, which means this can't be 2. This can't be 5, therefore it's an 8. That's a 5. This can't be 6, so this is a 1. This can't be 6, so this is a 4. That makes that 6 and 4. This is 1 and 2 then, which means this is a 2, this is a 1 because this can't be 1. This becomes 3, 5, 6, 3, 6, or 7, but this can't be 6, so this is a 5, 7 pair, which eliminates 5 and 7 from the rest of the box. Therefore, this is 3 and 6, but this can't be 3. Therefore, this is 6, this is 3. This can't be 8, therefore this is a 5, that's an 8. This can't be 8, so this is 1, this is 8. This can't be 3, so this is 7, this is 3. This is all from normal Sudoku. That must be a 7, and this must be 5. Very interesting mix of how this actually interacted with each other. I loved how this, you could basically get a 5 pair here, so you knew this had to be C, E, or E. And then you had to mix that in. Yeah, it was very cool. And then this Renban forcing that this had to be 4 and 6 was pretty cool too. And this not being able to be a 5 because this couldn't be E and E was also very neat. Lots of really, really cool interactions in this puzzle. I'm not sure why it's called basket, but this didn't make me a basket case, which is good. So, but it was very fun actually looking at the interactions and figuring them out. Anyways, I hope you had a fun time watching this solve, and I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.